So Edgar Berlanga this Saturday will face his toughest test of his career in Steve Rolls. I know Steve Rolls has not been anyone of note. His most notable win is against Andre Leatherwood for the USBA middleweight belt. Or super middleweight belt, excuse me. But it's still his biggest step up. Steve Rolls famously known for giving Gennady Golovkin a really good fight before getting knocked out in 4 rounds. And I've been watching tape on Steve Rolls. And my question is, could Edgar Berlanga lose this fight? Steve Rolls has been active, did fight once in 2021, recently in December 17, knocked out Christopher Booker in the 9th round in Canada. I think Steve Rolls is Canadian himself. Yes, he is from Toronto, Canada. He's 37 years old, 5'10", 72-inch reach. Let me see Edgar Berlanga's measurements. I think he's 6'1", 73-inch up. 6'1" with a 73-inch reach. 18 wins, no losses, 60 knockouts. And there's some skills that I've seen in watching tape for Steve Rolls. First of all, he punches in between his opponent's punches. What I mean is, like, let's say you're throwing a 4-punch combination or a 3-punch combination, like between your 1 and your 2, he will hit you. And then he'll cover up, and after your 3, he'll hit you again. He's a good counter puncher. He fights well between the opponent's punches. One thing about him, though, he has a very high guard. He has that peekaboo style guard where you can hit around his guard if you want to land hooks like on the side of the head or like behind the ear, and you can hit him to the body fairly easily. That's 2 things about him that I have noticed watching tape. So he could be hit behind the guard fairly easily, but he can hit you himself behind the guard. He loops his shots. I've seen him loop his left hook in several of his fights. He has a power jab. Even though he does not use he throws jabs, constantly. When he does, he throws it with power. He puts his weight behind his jab. He's not one of those guys that just wants to touch you with the jab. No, he puts all his weight. He jumps into the jab. So that's a couple things I've noticed by Steve Rolls watching tape about him. What that means is he can be countered hard because he puts his weight in shots. Also, he can counter you hard because he punches between your combinations. So this is a very tricky fight for Edgar Berlanga. I'm extremely excited for this fight. Let me just take a quick look on the undercard. Look, don't get me wrong. I expect Edgar to win, but this fight could be a banana skin. I'm not so sure Edgar Berlanga, if he's being moved very quickly, but he's being put. Ever since they stepped him up, he's taken the right fights, in my opinion. On the undercard, the only fight that's of note is Alexander Zayas. He's gonna fight again. Prospect of the year for last year by many accounts. He has a record of 12 wins, no losses, 9 knockouts. He's a light middleweight, 5'10", 74-inch reach, Puerto Rican. He's only 19 years old. That's a couple years younger than me. He's fighting an unknown guy in Quincy Lavalles. Quincy Lavalles has a record of 12 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, with 7 knockouts. Has not fought anyone of note. So I'm not expecting them to push him right now. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the Edgar Berlanga fight. If I had to predict, I think Berlanga wins his 3rd fight on points. I don't think he has the accuracy of Gennady Golovkin. And Gennady Golovkin put up one hell of a pace in that fight. For a guy who a lot of people say is old, overrated, he put one hell of a pace in that fight. He was matching Steve Rolls. Steve Rolls threw 60 punches in round 2. Landed 16 of them, but Gennady Golovkin came back with 66 punches, landed 21 of them. So you see what I mean? Gennady Golovkin was punching with him throughout the fight. Got hit a lot, but he was hitting Steve Rolls a lot. And then switched to southpaw and knocked him out with the overhand left. Knocked him out basically cold. He did not know where he was after he got hit with the overhand left. But I don't think Steve Rolls has a bad chin whatsoever. And I think this is going to be a tricky fight. His last 2 fights for Edgar Berlanga, He's won them both on points. Damon Nicholson, you can make an argument Damon Nicholson could have been stopped at any point in the fight. I think it was dropped like 4 or 5 times. And then Marco Esteban Gonzalez. I have that fight 6-4 for Edgar Berlanga. I thought I won that fight 95-94. All 3 judges had a 96-93 for Berlanga. So it's not like a robbery or anything. A lot of people thought Cosiris won that fight, and you can make an argument. Cosiris has been in the ring with top opponents before, famously with Billy Joe Sanders. He was beating Billy Joe Sanders on many people's scorecards 6-4 before he got stopped. The judges have it officially. One judge had it for what's his name? My bad. Let me read his name. I don't have it memorized. Gonzalez, 6-4. The other 2 had it for Billy Joe Sanders, 6-4. He got stopped by Billy Joe in round 12. Got dropped twice. Second time, he was out cold. But I still think Edgar Berlanga is in one of the toughest fights of his career in Steve Rolls. But these fights, when you take these learning fights, when you fight guys who've been in there with world champions like Billy Joe Sanders, like Gennady Golovkin, and they gave those guys tough fights, this only helps you. This only helps you in the long run. This only gives you the experience to go back on. Unlike British contenders, Daniel Dubois and Anthony Yard, they had to learn through their losses when they went up to world level. They did not get those learning fights. Daniel Dubois did not fight the Carlos Tecums, did not fight the Derek Chisora, did not fight the Chris Ariolos. He got pushed right away into a Joe Joyce. Same thing happened with Anthony Yard. He did not fight the Callum Johnsons, did not fight, random light heavyweight journeyman, did not fight the guys that Joshua Buatsi is fighting. No, he got pushed right away into a Sugar Cove. He didn't even fight a guy on Najib Muhammadi's level. Got pushed right away into a fight against Sergey Kovalev. And he got unstuck. He got unstuck in that fight. And it was not a shocker to anyone. You don't do that. You really don't. So yeah, that's my thoughts about Edgar Berlanga. I think they're managing him the right way. I thought they leveled him up too much between Nicholson and Casares. But now Casares and Steve Rolls, they're about the same level. And I like this fight for Edgar Berlanga. I think it's a true test. He could get beaten in this fight. He could get knocked out. Because I think Steve Rolls punches harder than Marcelo Establish and Casares. I apologize extremely for butchering that name. But I'm not managing how to pronounce it. But I still think Steve Rolls punches harder than his last opponent. I'm very excited for this fight. I will be making a post-fight reaction no matter what happens. And give me your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you guys think Edgar Berlanga is real or is he hype? Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Sadiq Boxing out.